Hello students, this is the content overview. This is going to show you how to get into your classes and actually do the work within your classes. So first off, we're going to log in. I'm going to use my pretend student Harry Potter again. Right, so Harry Potter logs into his classes. So I'm going to show you a couple of different classes and a couple of different things. So first of all, Harry Potter wants to go into economics class and do some work. So he clicks on, now he hasn't done very much of this class yet. Remember, that's his cumulative grade, 5.5%. That's all he's earned out of what he can earn in the total class. He's done a little more in British Lit or English 12. So I'll click on economics. So there's a couple of ways for him to get to the work in his class. He can use this little class content bar down here. He can use his bookmarks, which he doesn't have any yet. You can also just click on content. Another way I'm going to show you how to do that. You can also do recently visited, and you can also do just content like that. And that gives you the big view of all your work. When you are in your class, there's a couple of things you should always look at. First off, course materials. This is a very important part of every class. If you click on course materials, you'll find several things. You'll find contact information for the teacher. So there's how to get a hold of the teacher. You will also find schedules or pacing guides. So here's the pacing guide for economics class. That shows you how far you should be and what you should have accomplished in order to finish the class by the end of the semester. And then also, if there is a textbook for the class, the textbook will be in here as well. The online learning handbook is really not the textbook for the class. That is a general guide for online learning. But there's also, for some classes, like the math classes, there's usually a textbook. You may never need the textbook in a class. You might do great, but sometimes, occasionally, some classes will refer to stuff in the textbook or ask you to look at stuff in the textbook. So, after course, and it can be used as a reference if you need to look, if you just want to learn more about what you're learning. We'll go more in depth on the class. All right? So, some other things I'm going to show you. Let's say in his class, he's working on a unit. Actually, let's go back for a second. I want you to notice this little check mark right here. This shows, that little check mark means that Harry Potter has been in this discussion assignment. Those check marks will appear and they will show everything that a student has been into or looked at. That does not mean he's finished it, doesn't mean he has a grade for it. It just means that he's gone into that part. So, as a teacher, if I looked online to see how Harry Potter was doing, I can see his check marks also. So that would tell me that he hasn't really looked at the stuff right before the discussion, which might be why he didn't do well on the discussion. Okay? In this case, if I highlight on it, it says, well done, you've contributed to the discussion. Okay, so sometimes you can see that also. Here's his writing assignment. Okay? Don't be deceived by these little check marks, though. They're not necessarily mean you've done everything in that section or in that little piece of the class. Okay? So I'm going to go in and look at something like researching innovation. In this class, there are a number of tools. So the writing assignment, if I look at this writing assignment, it is 12 slide for 1.02. So if I go back again real quickly, I'm just going to hit my back button. You've got the writing assignment right there. But the slides for a lot of that stuff on that writing assignment are back in here. But anyway, let's go back to 1.02. I want to show you the tools. So in this class, there are a number of tools. some classes the tools will look like this, where there's going to be some learning tools, it'll read out loud to you, there's a dictionary, and there's a translator. There's also some activity resources like some links. Sometimes there'll be some defined words in here, you know, some definitions, things like that. It's kind of a small little set of tools. Now, if Harry wanted to remember this page that he's on, he could bookmark it so that tomorrow he can, or later on, he can come back to it by simply clicking on the bookmark icon. So this is slide 12 out of 21. So don't forget, if you're wondering where it talks about the assignments, sometimes you have to back up a little on the slides. Okay? Now, these down here, these go to the next unit. So this is the slides for 1.02 Writing Assignment Researching Innovation. These go to the next step, or the next piece, the next slide. This is where he would download his writing assignment. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Now, if I go back, I'm going to show you that bookmark. Harry, the next day or later on, Harry Potter could click on his bookmarks. There it is. You can get right back to where he was. It's very handy and very convenient. Now, I want to show you the tools in another class. If we go to English 12 or British Lit, and we'll just go into any random unit here. And this class has more advanced tools in it. So if you click on Tools, that brings up the toolbar. These first 4 tools will read, pause, play, whatever you want to do, right? This will play or read the material to you. The second icon will translate it. This next icon will give you a dictionary definition for a word that you highlight. This gives you a bar if you're having trouble reading. Some students, it helps them to be able to see clearly. If you have reading issues or if you have vision problems, this can really help. And this last step right here allows you to choose your settings, what language you want to translate through, and all that kind of stuff. Lots of cool things like that. Last of all, whenever you're in your class doing your work and looking at your content, you always want to log out.